Hey guys, welcome back to Shooting the Breeze at Bobby V's. Sounds weird without a baby being here because he kind of made that name. Oh, you made that name. I'm sorry, okay. Shooting the Breeze at Bobby V's, created by Frank Ramppen, produced by Justin Bridgeline. So today's episode, we wanted to touch on something that we talked about previously, and that is how we got into this new, big, beautiful space. There were a lot of things that went into it, and Tim is really excited to talk about it at length today. He's so pumped. So with that, we're going to start with Frank and how we, why, how, the struggles of kind of finding this place. And
we didn't talk about this, but I think that the biggest reason to find a bigger place was when we do our lessons, we're doing all our lessons in a batting cage, and at the other place, the height of the cages weren't so high, so it was easy to do all our pitching lessons, it was easy to do all our hitting lessons, but it wasn't easy to do defense. And that was a little bit of a frustration, a little bit of a weakness in our product. Having a bigger space would help that, and then our teams. Unfortunately, we don't have a field. So our team practices were as creative as we can get. We have worked out some things with fields here and there, but we try to make our team practices as functional as possible within that small space. So I think those were the two biggest driving forces.
Probably the peak and off-peak hours too, because during our peak times we are so busy. We started maxing out that building. We didn't have space. We had to split the cages. Remember when we went from these long cages and we had to draw the cages in between? Yeah. We put up nets in the multi-purpose room, and we lost the cages upstairs because that also changed too. We had lost some square footage upstairs.
So we went from 6 cages to 6 cages.
Because we just repurposed another room.
Yeah, because it evolved into something different. So, when I started working on a day-to-day basis there in 2010, it wasn't long after that we were all feeling like, man, we're growing out of this place, we're busting at the seams. And I started looking around, lots of realtors helped through the years, but fortunately, and I'm very proud of this, is that we were patient. I saw a lot of buildings that, we saw a lot of them together that we liked. We were close to pulling the trigger
Closest one's
on.
probably the old Norwalk Tower.
Yeah,
that one wasn't bad.
If those walls, those retaining walls, or the
they had some weight-bearing walls right in the middle that killed it.
But the place up in Norwalk, where the trampoline place is now, was a cool place.
There's the Research Park building, right, but that had some columns in the middle.
Yeah, and that was the big thing. Is not only finding the right building that worked for what we do, but we didn't want to move too far away from our client base.
Yeah, we almost went up by Mohegan Sun.
Yeah, that was for a field. We were looking to do a complex up there, but we did move a little farther away, and a lot of people recommended we move to Bridgeport because there was a lot of real estate there that we'd get for a really good deal. There are a lot of buildings there that would work, but that would inconvenience a lot of the customers that we already had. So we kept looking, and finally we came across this place. Plaza Realty is the company that found this. Gene Rubino, longtime friend of Bobby V's, and myself, and Rick Smeriglio, presented this
place
to us.
Yesterday, by the way, Rick.
Yes, whose son's a customer. They showed us this place, and it's I think 9/10 of a mile from our old location on Camp Avenue. There's so much more parking. Parking is always an issue. It's in such a great little area back here. We know, we're in Riverbend, and the Riverbend Management Group is a great group of people. We got Frank Pelly, who has the building right next to us, his brother Don Pelly, who we've known for years. It's kind of like a little family thing, so this location was perfect. And Riverbend had agreed to remove some of the columns, which gave us our 15,000 square foot big turf space that, when we went into that and wanted a bigger place, and we wanted the field area so we could do a lot of work, we got it. But what we didn't realize, as much as what's happened, is how much in demand that space would be for all other things, all other sports, as a rental space.
Yeah, absolutely. It really changed, and thankfully so, because baseball and softball was not really enough to cover everything that we did here. Our costs grew exponentially when we came to this new space. So, and we've been able to really latch on to some really cool partners that we're going out to that I've been instructed we can't dive into those yet until we bring those guys on. But we'll get there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's evolving, and one of the things that Bobby insisted on from the very beginning is to build this place out as flexible as possible because we don't know what it's going to turn into. He and Bobby has tremendous foresight. It's unbelievable, and he was right. We didn't know. We came in thinking we were going to be a pickleball place.
Yeah.
We read a lot about pickleball.
We
It was
didn't
really
really
hot.
turf down so we can roll it up in
Right.
between events and make pickleball courts.
Other than our main field, the 15,000 square feet, our 4 cages down here, our 2 cages upstairs, the turf rolls back. I don't know if it rolls back anymore now, but that was the plan.
Say no.
All the cages could roll back, the turf could roll back, and any other event that we wanted to do, we would do. So we bought, that's pickleball paint, right? That blue paint, that's
The blue
pickleball paint. It's got a little
It's got a
roughy
little grit to
surface
it.
so you don't slip and.
I think we finally just ran out of it. We
Yeah, we ended up
repainted
painting
it a
one
couple
of our
times.
batter's eyes with pickleball paint too.
Yeah.
To keep it.
Well, actually, that was great. That was a
Worked out
huge
great.
adjustment.
Yeah.
And we actually did have a pickleball court, which is now in the gym area. And everybody loved playing it, but it wasn't something that we ever got off the ground as a business.
But it was fun.
It was fun. Our kids loved
It
it.
was at the open house night, I think it was, where we
Yeah.
have Kev and Sammy and all those
Yeah.
guys, and we had set up couches out there, and that was a really cool space.
Yeah. So we always envisioned that we would have a gym, a fitness component to our business, not knowing for sure how it was going to work, how we were going to do it. In the old place, we had upper deck fitness upstairs, and I
Saw
think-
that awesome push-up video you did the other day, by the way, Carl. Nice job on that.
wasn't quite what they planned or we planned. I mean, great business, they're doing great, they're awesome at what they do, but our foot traffic wasn't right in front of them. They were upstairs and they built that into a really cool place. But this place here has, which now we've outfitted and are partners with Overdrive, is right when you walk in the front of the building and in your face. So every athlete that comes in here and trains sees that we have this conditioning element to our business, and much easier to build the clientele with that situated there, and that's what took the pickleball place. So we turfed that and turned it into our gym.
A little more practical.
Yeah,
Much more
something.
Yeah.
You need to be closer to the mic, right? And
A little more practical.
So make sure we stay on these
That
things.
better?
Early on, we're still learning.
Oh,
we
I
gotta
have
get
a
a
note from the
message
producer.
from the producer.
Hang on.
So,
we gotta
so
check in here.
back to that whole process of finding the place and trying to figure out what worked.
We were looking at another building in here before this building.
I thought it was down in Riverbend.
No, that was
Not Riverbend.
there were two buildings in Research Park.
Yeah.
One was Pharma was renting it at the time. Remember?
Was that the one that had like the red columns in it?
I don't know.
It was like
it had high
you went
ceilings.
through one room and then you walked in and then there was high ceilings.
I don't know, but that was the one when you pull down the bridge, you go straight. It was right there on the
Yeah,
left.
on the left,
But then if
yeah.
you keep going to the back, there was that really big one, but that had a ton of columns.
Yeah,
And
it was like over a mill to re-engineer it out, right, to get the columns out of the
It would have
middle.
been a bigger field space than what we have now, but the cost to do it just didn't work. And the deal that we had with Riverbend, they had agreed to take some of the columns out, which was tremendous, and we left some of the columns in to do a second floor, which was Bobby's idea, again, which has the mezzanine effect to look over onto the playing field, has the 2 cages, office space, and that's where we do our birthday parties. So, we're still morphing into what this building can become.
And this building has done a lot of morphing over the last 30 years, right? Wasn't it back in the day, this whole place was a racquetball court, right?
Tennis, yeah.
Tennis,
Yeah.
and then Omega Engineering came in.
Engineering.
and
That's
they
when they
built
built
the
the
loft,
loft.
right? That was the first
Get
time
more
that loft
square
was built.
footage, yeah.
When we first came in here, I mean, there were more machines than they have in the Terminator. in
Yeah,
this
we were
place.
afraid to take this whole building. We took 2/3 of it, and Dano took the other third. We kind of wish we probably took, I don't know,
Yeah.
still debating on
Toss up.
that right
Toss
now.
up,
More
surplus.
space, more space is good when you're busy, and it stinks when you're slow.
Yeah, the idea for that was, especially after talking with Pete up at InSports in Trumbull, is we didn't realize how in demand hardwood is
Yes,
around here
basketball
too,
courts,
indoor hardwood.
yeah.
So, looking back, if you can Monday morning quarterback the whole thing, you might try to think about that. We were thinking about grass and turf sports,
Yeah.
because that was our primary, but
And one of the
we
big
just didn't know
ideas,
that market.
right? And one of the big ideas that we had was to have everything in here in terms of
Stop shop.
one-stop shopping, and a merchandise establishment was one of the things that we felt we needed to have a sports store in here. So we reached out to Steve at Instant Replay, who was over in the, I don't know, what's that, Hope Street?
Springdale Shopping Center.
Springdale Shopping Center. I think they were there for 30 plus
Yeah.
years or something like that.
And he had some space issues over there, and he loved the idea, so, and I know we're not getting into the full details of that, but we have them in the front of in our building,
It's
and
pretty awesome for me as a kid. Like, you know, I was growing up, and everybody knows Lenny, right?
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah,
knows
my
Lenny.
cousin.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't
He was
surprise me.
selling me the cheaper gloves though. He never
Yeah.
let me get a heart of the high until I was
Yep.
like 15.
Yeah, exactly. You always knew that he would take care of you. And
I
now
saw you field.
Yeah, he knew. You don't need that.
He's
No
such a
problem.
good fielder, he's the best fielder on the college baseball team, all the pitchers.
Pitching staff, just in pitching staff.
Just
in
pitching staff.
But Lenny was an announcer. He's
Yeah,
pretty.
my first knowledge of Lenny, he was working for WSTC doing sports.
Sweet.
Yeah.
He was telling me some old Navy stories the other day. The guy's deep with knowledge.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got some life experiences.
Really?
Yeah.
Legend.
Legend.
Been around some legends in my life, obviously Bobby V, Lenny, Max from the restaurant, everybody knows Max. Max was as popular as Bobby V or anybody.
Are you writing down this for
Mac
the
is.
Legends Never Die branch? Yep, got those. All right, perfect.
Yeah, but everybody that comes in here knows Lenny, which is pretty cool. So, and the whole instant replay is out in the front, entrance area, the lobby area, but the whole lobby design was pretty cool part of this whole process. The lower ceilings out there, and Bobby's nephew, Anthony Valentine, was working for WB Mason at the time, so we brought him in, and his crew designed the furniture layout, and our lobby really is cool.
Yeah, it looks
It's such
like a
a
doctor's
perfect
office.
setup when you work out, when you walk in, big horseshoe shape.
It's interesting, like how many people come in and they walk into the lobby and they're like, "Where's the field?" And it's like it feels like this can't be a sports academy because it's such a different environment
Yeah.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah, even though there are giant windows right in front of him.
Yeah.
Usually, I wasn't going
People
there.
not paying attention.
Yep.
And then we're talking about the columns earlier. I think the columns are one of the funny stories. I have so many stories to tell about Bobby V in terms of this
Perfect.
particular story.
That's
but-
exactly where we're going.
But the college story, so Bobby is very smart and has done so many things in his life, and we're basically doing all of this ourselves. We had Kevin Romano, who was our GC, helping us with a lot of the construction guys, but we were designing this together, we were making all the things happen.
Running back and forth.
While running the other place,
Right.
so should we go back to that night first before we go into the columns? Our plan was, we were renting a U-Haul truck, and our trucks are SUVs and such, and we were gonna, do you know the night? Was it a Friday night?
It was the last day in February, it was the 28th.
28th of February?
Monday, I believe.
Because it was
We were
the
transitioning.
28th of March 1st, it was a day-to-day transition. We went overnight.
Right.
March
1st.
4th.
March
No, March
1st
1st.
was our
Was it
first
March
day
1st?
there.
Yeah. So while you're looking that up, we initially signed the deal to do this building, I think in June of 2016. Riverbend started their version of the construction in October.
Yeah, they demoed the loft.
They were out by December, and we started putting the turf and the nets and our finishing touches on the place. And we had used a sports management consulting team that was walking us through us, and that might have been a mistake. We feel that we probably knew as much or more about what we were doing.
Yeah, they repackage things a little bit different.
Yeah.
We gave them the initial projections, they repackaged it in kind of their format, and I think as we get going.
And I don't think we knew how much we knew.
Yes.
Well, we didn't know how much we
Because you
knew
don't know
when we
what
were
you
really
know.
You don't know what you
Which
don't know.
ties it right into that.
Exactly. So yeah, it was definitely March 1st, and I remember now because it was my first day of St. Luke's season, and I'm driving to St. Luke's, and they're coming through the building and doing the inspection, and I get this call from Tim.
Saved it.
See if he's gonna play. Doesn't want to play.
Great example.
Yep, there you go. There's a lot of stuff like this happened.
It must be a good message.
It's
Did
a
you see
great.
it
Oh,
2
I
years
did.
ago?
I
2
did.
years
Well, it
ago.
was because it's cute. He doesn't do
Cute.
cute things often, so when he does cute things, you gotta catch it.
Starting as of March 1st, 2017, you have to change your working address to 4 Omega Drive South. Thank you very much.
I was really, really excited to get that voicemail. It was.
At that point in time, too, we need to get our inspections done by the city. So, and we need to go.
No, that was right after the inspections left.
Yeah.
Because I left for St. Luke's thinking, crap, they're coming in. Bobby's gonna be here. Are we gonna pass? Are we not gonna pass? I gotta go to practice. I gotta go, what's going on over there? And then I got that message.
Right. So was that we had the inspection on March 1st to open up business?
That message was on 2/27.
Oh, okay.
So it was on 27.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we got the okay, and then bang, we get going. We're like, okay, they signed off. Bobby walked through the building with the guys, and
I don't think we were worried about obviously we were worried about getting everything signed off and meeting that deadline, but I don't think we were worried about the physical move, but we were real worried about the transition and how business was gonna go that last day over there and the first day over here.
Right in the middle of our busy season.
Right
in March,
right.
the busiest we get.
exactly. Thankfully, it was busy because we had the West Hill guys that were training until 9 p.m.
We're doing that last night in February. West Hill's in there. We
We're
got
grabbing
the
stuff.
U-Haul out there. Some people are starting to bring stuff out. And the Semmels and the Wainwrights and the Sochis hung out with us and their trucks and like cut our moving time in half.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Ripping stuff off the wall.
Those muscle that Semmel's running through, just everything we had on the wall was coming off.
Oh, that was awesome. They brought it over here, and then that night Oscar was still painting the floors, getting ready to go. I was making sure the computers and
We're moving
everything was
now,
all
screen
going.
stepping around wet paint on the floors and trying to get
Moving everything but the nets and the turf.
Exactly. Thankfully, that was already here because that would have been something.
And a shout out to those guys, Twinkle Toes I like to call them, TJ Wainwright's off to play college ball at Central,
Yeah.
right?
Sochi's
Sochi's off to UConn, and Montana's a pro. He's getting paid to play for the Yankees. Good luck to you guys and thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. And dads.
And that's good job.
So, back to the whole column thing. So, Bobby watching the budget with us and going over things with us, put it mostly in our hands, but I always ask him about the big things, and we had a number to, the columns.
$10,000.
Yeah, the columns that we chose to keep that were supporting the second floor where the cages are, blah, blah, blah. We were concerned about kids running into them, somebody getting through the net somehow, or the net giving and them hitting the pole, so we wanted to pad all the columns, and we got a price to do it professionally for about $10,000, and Bobby would have nothing to do with it.
Nope. Next thing you know, we've got rolls of Analgahide getting dropped off, and a bunch of styrofoam from different places.
From dog bags.
And wasn't he in here doing it by himself?
Yeah, by himself.
On the
Didn't even
ladder.
ask for our help.
Right? We came in on a Sunday, I think it was.
and we
were
saw
checking
him
in.
using a broom and a piece of string to measure stuff.
Yep. He's reaching around the ladder, trying to glue on the backside of this thing all by himself. And they came out okay.
They're still standing. We modified a few of them.
Yeah.
But they serve the purpose. Nice work.
It was just really important for him that not only we saved money, but that we kept making this place nice too. Like I remember that the wall of fame that we have, the jersey wall. We gotta still figure out what we're doing
on
there.
that wall too.
Amazing signed jerseys, and that was another Sunday. No one in the building. Bobby he said. I think his words were, "We need life in this building." This is before we opened, and here he is hanging jerseys and whatnot. We had a lift at the time, and he's by himself, just
Will
outfitting that whole
jerseys,
wall.
signed Pete Rose jerseys, just pulling the stuff out of his basement.
Yeah,
which, by the way,
It's a pretty cool.
7
cheap
restaurants at one point. Bobby V's restaurants, all wall-to-wall memorabilia. Every bar top, tabletop covered in cards. Every one of them his.
That's
His own cars. And you guys handled
collected stuff. No, we didn't. Not at the beginning. We fixed them and did some repair work, but all that stuff is his.
Wow.
Yeah, he collected through the years.
There's a lot of Bobby Valentine cards in there.
So I just have to. There's a lot of them. I got to tell one that I was just thinking of him doing the columns, and there wasn't a deadline to this. We're kind of doing that in advance. But one of the great Bobby V stories and moving stuff was we had a restaurant in Queens, right across from Shea Stadium, when he was the manager. And unfortunately, we opened 10 days after 9/11. And that we had a lot of airport business in that restaurant and hotel, so it was tough to get off the ground, but off the ground, the airport, that's funny. When that place eventually closed, Bobby decided he wanted to move the bar top from the Queens restaurant, to Stanford. That was in better shape, better bar for whatever reason. Let's take it from Queens and let's move it down to Stanford. The night before the Super Bowl. So one of the craziest days at Bobby Valentine Sports Gallery, Cafe, Super Bowl. It's not a great turnout day because people sit and watch, but it's packed.
Yep.
We're down in Queens on Saturday, 5 of us. with another U-Haul truck, disassembling that bar, putting it on the truck to bring it back to put it together. I swear to God, we worked straight through the night, and I was tapping in like a post, a temporary post to support the bar in that one particular area because it was sagging a little. As the first customer of the day is walking in, and this includes the draft
over Super Bowl.
and then we're Super Bowl. Yeah, I actually didn't work that day, but that's a fun Bobby story. But we got it done, and we got this done.
And whenever it's crazy stuff like that, he's always involved. He's always in the mix, hands on.
Yeah.
Oh, and he thrives in it.
Yeah.
He thrives in it. He has that ability to just thrive there.
Yeah, the Newport. I mean, all of the restaurants. He was a part of.
How about the restaurant in Stanford closes while we're moving in here too?
Yeah,
and
that's
we
why
have
all the stuff is on the wall.
Yeah. So the bar that you brought from Queens to Stanford, is that what's upstairs?
That's what's upstairs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really
So
cool.
the rail that overlooks the 15,000 square foot field is an old Bobby V's bar.
That's awesome. Remember going to the restaurant and taking.
I just can't stop
some
the drive
drive.
seeing the Ricky Bush.
I'll never get that image of you lifting the fridge up onto your chest.
Oh, when we were moving out the restaurant?
Yeah. So hold on, let me just take a step back real quick. This is one of the most methodical, thought out, planned, organized person. Like you think through things.
When it comes to
I'm
moving.
quite the opposite until you're moving something. Until you're moving something, and just make sure you over communicate with him and you say, okay Tim, we're gonna count, or else he's lifting that thing or dropping that thing and it doesn't matter. You better figure it out.
You get up, you get going that way.
Yeah. Yep, we've had a lot of moving things.
It was a funny surprise story. The day our turf was delivered. So we have, I don't know what the total number was, but there's 15,000 square feet out here. There's our 4 cages.
Yeah.
And the turf gets delivered from the company that we buy almost all of our stuff from Ondeck Sports, and they did a really good job for us. They didn't tell us that we had to offload the turf.
Yeah. No.
So these monster,
I mean, they're
rolls of
30-foot rolls,
Yeah,
30
it's
yard
no
rolls.
way.
They were
That's
massive.
1,000 pounds.
Yep.
2,000 pounds.
We're like, okay, let's go try to lift those.
So shout out to Joe Scarad, Senior.
Yeah.
In United Rental, Joe's been like a part of the family, and anytime something breaks or goes wrong, Joe's there to help, although Tim can fix almost everything, but Joe's
Yeah, probably like Joe did almost every one of our L screens.
in like no time at all. We got a forklift with a carpet carrier on it, and
Yeah.
all the wraps to get it off, and didn't miss a beat.
And then we had to ask Dano to use their
we had
to use their entrance and then their forklift.
Oh, right.
Dano helped us out.
Who's driving the forklift? That's him. Nice. I mean, he's driving a forklift. How much experience do you have with a
That was
forklift?
my first day.
Okay, with a forklift with
I'll learn
this
it.
huge, heavy carpet thing sticking out there with huge carpet on it, and he's maneuvering into this garage door and through that was something.
all through their
Yeah.
department, their warehouse, and then down all the way down the driveway.
Then back again.
And you managed to get into the door without hitting the wall.
Without ripping the door jam wall.
Yeah, that's good.
Speaking of which,
They're not getting-
now Anthony is also. It wasn't a forklift; it was a scissor lift.
It was scissor lift. I'm blaming Verge for that one.
Took the corner a little tight. Not bad.
Okay, hold on. Let's go back. So we got out this door, right?
We're open already.
We're open already. You had this fast forward. We had the scissor lift in for.
We were working on something.
Well, I think we were working on the motor of the curtain, maybe.
Maybe.
And Virgin and I wanted to take it out to the back, and we were. Why did we come back in the building on that side? We didn't want to go across the turf. Whatever it was, we go outside, and we're going to get up this thing, and Verge jumps up and doesn't realize there's a bar there and clocks his head. And his head, he literally split his head open. He's bleeding. And I'm joking, and yeah, just a little bit of karma because I'm making fun of him like, you idiot, slow down, whatever. Dirt knock, 2 minutes later, I'm going to the door, and instead of us moving the cage back, taking an extra 2 minutes, I thought I had enough room, but when you start going, and then you start metal creaking, and you hit the brakes, and it's not the brakes, you're still going for another couple feet. We look back, and the door jam came
So
up a
you did
little
the gas
bit.
instead of the brakes?
Yeah, it just kept going, and got through there. And there were customers in the building, and
That's why we didn't go over the turf.
Exactly, that's what
Everything was going. This was 7 o'clock
It was
at
a little
night. Frank and I
early enough.
happened to get done
You guys were actually done
earlier.
at normal time, yeah.
Yeah, so you and I
And it
decided.
also started raining outside. It was like a thunderstorm and whatnot, so we were trying to get inside, and I felt really terrible. And I'm sitting there and had to.
Bottom line is he ran into the wall.
With
A lot of words to the wall.
Back to the transition period for a second. So after those guys help us and everything gets brought over to this building and a lot of the stuff gets put in place Some of the stuff gets neatly stored over to the side. And now is the serious concern is we're opening up in a few hours. Fortunately, it wasn't a weekend. It definitely wasn't a weekend.
No.
So kids were in school, we were open up, the people started to come in 2:30, 3 o'clock. And it went flawlessly. It was unbelievable. We couldn't believe that nothing went wrong. Everything was perfect. All the computers were working
Yeah.
up front, the phones were working, the customers loved the place, our
Just a
lessons
couple
went
phone
well.
calls for directions, but that was really it.
That was probably the toughest part.
That's the
man.
biggest thing, our official address for
Like it's in
Omega
Florida.
Drive takes us to the back of the building, not to the front of the building.
Right.
Exactly.
We ended up making the video, dropping down Hope Street, and like you turn in here, you go here, try to guide people in.
We convinced them to let us put that baseball out there, which is
Yeah.
still out there, and that came from the restaurant?
Yeah,
that
I was
of
out
it?
front,
Out
225 Main Street
Yep.
for years. Actually, Walt Greeny painted that ball.
Wow.
Yeah, Walt Greeny, who, Stanford guy, big family, regular, or they Norwalk people, not Stanford, Bob moved to Norwalk. Regular customer at the restaurant for a year. He is an artist, a painter. He painted lots of
Customers loose word there.
lots of the Stanford downtown does the decorative painting things. They had the giraffes, they
Yeah.
had the cars, whatever. Walt painted some of those back in the day, but he also painted our back wall with the stadium scene, which was pretty cool. So a little shout out to Walt, and he painted that wall a long time ago.
Makes sense. How long did it take him?
A little slow wall.
A little slow. It's amazing work.
It's good stuff. So what else do we have? The stairs was a big deal, but go ahead, you got something?
Well, yeah, so we have that sprinkler system over there that we had to fix. It's right on the netting. We had to figure out how to make that a safe area. Right now, Tim has built an awesome wall there with padding, and we really repurposed Bobby's original idea.
Beautiful.
The original idea was
Yeah.
awesome. It was, and listen, when we went to go take it apart finally that day, we had to really figure it out because he rigged that thing so it wasn't going anywhere. It was there. It bothered you the way it looked, whatever it was, so we wanted to change it. But as he's in the process of doing this, again, on a Sunday, no one's in here, it's before we're officially open, so he's just killing time, and he went and took some Unistrut and put some stuff up on the ceiling, and he,
He's
Put
hanging
a ton of barrier, a padded barrier.
Right,
from the sprinkler
right.
system.
Yeah, the idea is so like if you run into the wall, you hit this pad before you go into the sprinkler system, so there's some give in there.
So I'm a Cabalos, and I like the Doubting Thomas, whatever it is, and you can tell me all you want, but I gotta try it, so I ran into the wall. Next thing you know, I got metal and stuff falling from the ceiling out to the ground, and I'm just like, oh crap, I gotta call Bobby now. So first thing I do is call you and say, hey, Greg, this is what happened. We talked through it, let Bobby know. Bobby understood. He's like, oh, it's kind of on me. I should have told you I wasn't done with it yet. We're in the middle of it, and I felt terrible because he wasn't done with it, and I'm just messing up his stuff. So then that happened. So that's a separate story. Fast forward to
1 week later, Bobby's building the same
on the other side,
on the
these
other
stairs.
side to protect the staircase, and Ant does it again.
no, this was you.
Oh, you.
No, no, you grabbed it, and then we called him again, and he
So he was there for that one.
And he said, "You ain't always breaking my stuff." Was that me again? No.
I want to.
In my head, we did.
Okay, based on history, I thought it was probably you.
I'm going to vote Anthony. I'm going to tell you how his mind thinks. So every year he goes to Tampa with all his buddies for this big fun trip. They go to one of those smash rooms, I guess they're called.
That was
where you
one time. Yep.
Smash all different kinds of things. And
The past calendar
Ant
year.
decided just to smash the TV with his hand. Somehow came home in a sling and
Still throwing batting practice with a broken right hand.
Yeah, I tried for a couple days actually. It hurt. I couldn't do it. And actually, Casey Olette and a couple other birds who stepped in and helped me with my lessons for those couple weeks. It was really embarrassing because I had to admit at almost 30 years old I broke my hand on a TV.
It's also really funny
It was
for everyone else.
hilarious. It was also a cool perspective for me to get from behind the cage or behind the L screen and to interact with my kids at that level. And then, especially for Joe Pastor, Casey's knowledge helped us kind of bridge the gap of some things we were working on, and it ended up becoming a really cool experience. But yeah, it was a little
Spin into
embarrassing.
the positive.
Yeah.
So if you have Ant in your life at all, you don't let him drive heavy construction equipment.
I have
Away
driven it
from your
since.
TVs.
I've driven it since, and I've been better.
Story's not
Yeah.
funny.
Okay. So yeah, there's that. some of the things that I think one of the other topics we want to talk about was things that we learned throughout the process, right? And going back to that turf and rolling up the turf, one of the things that I can remember learning was how awful it was to move it until the Georgia boys gave us the little leaf blower trim.
Yeah.
Throw a little air under that thing, and it was much easier to move. That was
Make
a
a little
pretty
magic
cool
carpet.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
crew was a pretty good crew.
They were.
Yeah.
They had a tough time when they were here.
Yeah, they came up with like 5 or 6 guys, right? And a couple of their guys they brought up had some deaths in the family.
Like 2 or 3 within
there were
2
2
weeks.
of them while they were up here.
One guy got stuck under a house or something and got asphyxiated with some
Yeah.
natural gas. Another guy was shot.
It was some guy. The guy's sister got shot.
Yeah.
It was like an accident, like a stray caught her or something like that when she was dropping her kid off to school.
And these guys just kept working.
Yeah.
They just kept going until they got the job done. They were
And
here.
Anthony ran a dog over. No, that didn't happen. Just kidding. That didn't happen. Just kidding.
I rescue animals, not I'll kill them.
Yes, he did. And but there was something. There was a delay / backwards timing of
So
delivery.
it was
That's
the lights and the nets.
lights.
The lead time on the lights, I think, ended up being a little longer than we were expecting. So then they couldn't.
Yes and no. We pushed up the netting because we wanted to get in here. We were
Well,
3
we
months
needed to.
behind schedule. Everything kept getting
If you
pushed
think
back.
about it, we retrofitted this whole place in 2 months.
Absolutely. Really.
There was a lot. We
Realistically.
redid all the electrical, all
Yep.
the services, all new high bay lights.
Well, yeah, after we got away from
netted
those,
everything.
yeah, the
full
consultants, you had to redo a lot of that.
Inspected, yeah.
Yep. And how many hours did you and your dad spend here with Mike
Oh,
Bailey after hours?
This is a night job.
Yep.
Go over, manage, do the lessons over on Camp Ave, finish up, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, come over here, do electrical work till 10, 11 o'clock, meet with him, and go back and do it again.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Bobby Jules.
Bobby Jules. And then,
That was a fun one, though.
you know what was hilarious? When we had the electrical fire, I mean, the electrical fire wasn't the hilarious part, but
When the main blew,
when the main blew,
Yeah,
and
clarify that there was a separate part of the building
Yeah.
that
Nothing.
affected nothing.
yeah. Well, we got an early Christmas lunch that
we
day.
got out, we got out.
Carrington almost jumped off his office. He literally
Oh,
got
when it
elevated
boomed,
when the alarm
yeah.
went off. Yeah. But yeah, we were.
So that's another thing. So there was like a 2-month period here
Yeah.
where the building's electrical main, which is on Dano's side, and the water main, which is kind of running through the instant replay zone, both blew
Yeah.
within like a 2-month period.
Yeah, we're still waiting for the twister to come through.
Now, you're not claiming you did that work, right?
No,
No, no, no, no,
Excuse you and your dad from that.
That's where we were going there. We immediately called up Bobby Jules, like, hey, Bobby Jules, went over there, looked at it. It was clearly not the panel that we worked on, so we were good to go.
Wasn't
And so Tim and his dad did a lot of electrical, Mike Daly was in here, and Leo Sochi did a lot of our plumbing, and I have to point out the fact that we have 2 total washlet toilets,
Yes.
one in the upstairs men's room and one in the downstairs ladies' room, and
And if you'd like the peanut butter story, you can refer back to the
Yeah.
Red 3 podcast.
I'm not
Because we'll be doing that now.
but if you haven't, you need to get one.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're dirty.
It's amazing that that's not a more of a relevant thing in America. Like in Japan, it's
Japan,
everywhere.
No matter where you go, I mean, it'll be the smallest little shack,
Yeah.
little something restaurant, they have a wash list.
Well, thank you, because it's a game changer. It
Yeah.
really is. You've now installed a really
I installed for my
professional
house like
home.
less than a year
My
later.
brother has too.
You gotta have it.
Yep.
You gotta have it.
Gotta have it.
Listening to this whole thing is silly. Not having a Toto wash that, it might be more silly.
I think Toto, we have to get Toto to be one of our sponsors.
Yeah, we don't have a Toto upstairs, not a Toto.
Goldberg.
No.
Sorry, Toto.
Toto's the brand name, but yeah, many companies make it.
Let's see. What are the other things that? Any other wild things that happened here?
You mentioned something about the blueprints, it was a blueprint issue.
Well, the
Yeah.
stairs. That's why we have we have some extra seating here.
So
now.
there was the original design from that consulting company and their construction company that worked in conjunction with them. There was going to be a staircase coming off the side of the loft inside a sealed stairwell that needed to go out
To
the
be
back. So we
fireproof.
would have had to build new cinder blocks like staircase and get outside. And then we had another engineer come in and say, you don't really need to do it like that. Put it off the other side, keep it open, bring it down.
Then you're good.
Yeah, because we see 2 paths of egress for the loft.
Exactly.
Oh, the air conditioning.
And then the air
HVAC
conditioning,
issue.
yeah. So when we got that original bid, it was hefty, and we sat down and we went like line item by line item, and we dove through that whole thing, highlighted what we had questions on, I remember sitting in the meeting with Bobby and those other guys, and when he had his information in front of him, and he had an understanding that this is marked up a little bit too high. That was an impressive thing to watch.
That was fun.
Yeah,
You
it was
want
a
to get
fun,
Bobby mad.
fun thing
I feel
to
like you're
watch.
cheating him.
Yeah, and he
Especially
ended up,
because he's such a generous person, and he'll literally give you the
Yeah.
shirt off his back, and yeah, he had saw those red flags. And
For
it
sure,
was like,
for sure. And he ended up calling one of his friends, John Seaman, who came in and he completely re-engineered our air conditioning, where they wanted to put a new unit on the outside of the building, duck it up all the way across the top of the field for 200 feet, and then dump it off on the loft. When Seaman came in, he's like, yeah, you have 2 blowers on the loft already, I'm just going to run them out this way.
Yeah.
No new unit.
Yeah. Hey, good job.
Yeah.
Yep.
And good service since.
Yeah.
Good Siemens service.
No.
So here we are 2.5 years later, still evolving
Yeah.
as we have our new studio room, as we do these silly talk show things. It's funny. The elevator was stuck once. Tim got stuck in it.
I did
Thank God
get
it wasn't
stuck in
me
it.
because I don't
Really?
like that.
Mhm.
When was that?
right after I got stuck
It
in it.
was within.
You got stuck too, so he's not the only one.
Well, I got stuck in it for a short
No, we
period of
turned it
time.
off when you were.
That disconnect.
A team got stuck in there.
Yeah.
They were
Oh,
in there
I
screwing
thought it was
around.
a long time.
Well, this was different. They
They were
pulled-
riding up and down.
They pulled
They
the
pulled
emergency
up,
button,
yeah.
and then the
When I got stuck in there, it just kind of kept caught in between floors.
So we had a few squirrels and chipmunks running around the turf. They
Yeah.
were checking it out.
Yeah.
Yep, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
Funny. I like it. I like it. There's some ceiling fan issues.
We haven't solved
splitting
that
the
one yet.
building was a big issue, metering the building
Yeah.
electrically,
Yeah.
because they have the one main coming in, now it has to get split between 2 tenants, so we have to figure all that out.
We got to mention Oscar, and we mentioned him before, Oscar
Mhm.
Rigo, 2 guys that Bobby knew, kind of all-purpose guys, did a lot of
Do it all, guys.
miscellaneous stuff in here for us during the build-out.
They helped build out they'll help finish this guy, right? They helped finish build this room?
I think Seth and his
That
buddy
was
did
Seth,
this.
the AD?
Yeah, Seth finished this, I think, Seth and that guy John.
Which has become kind of a multi-purpose room here. What
Physical therapy.
underground?
We were thinking
what's-
about doing physical therapy.
underground elevator room. What did they call this room?
Oh, I don't know, it
Yeah,
was clever
something like
though,
that.
The underground elevator room.
clever.
We're up and
clever.
down with that. That's just, that's how I live, that's how I live.
How we do, Verge?
All right.
I know we're missing some fun stories,
Yeah, there were
but
so many things that happened here. I remember being before construction, or as the mezzanine had been chopped off, but no turf, no netting, and we were in here with DeMeglio and Frasca, and they were long tossing.
all right.
And because there was no nets and turf or anything like that, the acoustics in here
loud
were
every time you heard it,
so
yeah.
cool. Every pop of the glove just reverberated through the building. It was
And who was the first lesson? We have a picture of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was with Willie. I don't know the kid.
And I think Bobby
he
V was here that day,
Yeah,
right? You,
yeah,
Bobby V, were here
yeah.
that day for the first lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And the grand opening party was a cool party. That was a great night. Everybody was really excited. That's a cool thing too, that everybody that comes into this place, it's exciting, it's big. You know, we try to do everything as right as possible, that it gives you a good feel when you walk in, and there's just an exciting place to come and play in. Exciting place to work.
Yeah, we've had, a bunch of people in the last couple of weeks who've come up and wanted jobs and inquiring because they see that this is a fun place to be. You know, it's pretty cool, so that message is out there as well.
So that's our story.
Yeah. And I'm sure there are many more things that we can dive into about, the building, the processes, but we don't want to bore you guys with any more of that stuff, so we're going to get back to recording some of the fun things. And thank you so much for hanging out with us and shooting the breeze at Bobby V's. And make sure you, thank you so much, Tim. You're an assistant producer. Please subscribe to all of our social media channels. Hit the button below and leave us any comments, any things that you guys would like to hear and talk about. Verge is all ears.
And if you listen to this whole thing and you're still there, we're either really good or you need to get a life. See ya.